Hey guys, so here's the second video tonight. 5 dreams to talk about. I could spend a long time on each of them, but I'm gonna try and jump through them quickly. They all are packed full of parables and meanings. So please pray for discernment, pray for understanding, and if you guys have any kind of interpretations of your own, or you guys have anything to add to any of these, please let me know. I'd be interested to you guys' input, because there's quite a bit here. So I'm going to jump into them. So this one I have here was December 21st, 2017. It started out, I was in this basement. It was a very familiar house. I don't know whose, but I've dreamed of this house in the past a long time ago. There's quite a few of us in this basement. I've never dreamed of these people before, but it felt like they were family members or just really close friends. We were all kind of young in this dream, not even in our teens yet. Again, I just looking at my notes here. They're all very familiar, but I don't recognize them in real life. But they all in the dream seem familiar. We're all playing in this basement. I guess we're all at some get together, and 6 people in black robes came down the stairs. They all went into the far corner and got into a circle and started praying. I was called outside to move an old car that was parked behind this house that was beat up and rusty, and they couldn't move by itself. I don't even think it had an engine in it. So me and 4 or 5 of us pushed this car back to the top of this hill and onto this person's driveway in front of his garage. As we were all about to go back inside, I decided to just go look at the back of the house for some reason. When I did, I noticed that the people who were in the robes and they went downstairs, they had wrote something on the basement wall behind the house, on the outside of the house, with some kind of chalk or something with a very similar texture to it. And I had on some damp gloves, kind of like the cotton ones you'd find in around wintertime, and they were damp. I guess I put them on to move this car, and they were wet. So I walk over to what they had wrote, and I don't know what they wrote. I couldn't understand it, but with this damp glove, I put a cross underneath the words, and their words started to sizzle and drip, but it dripped upwards away from the cross, and the words kind of evaporated, kind of like the cross was super hot, and the moisture from it would cause something to disappear. So I went back downstairs, and I had seen that every single one of them was gone, except for one of them. The last one, I guess, who didn't make it out after I put the cross on the wall, I knew that affected them somehow in the dream. He was laying on his back and looking up at the ceiling as if he had just passed out. So all of us down there, we all gathered around him just to help him up, and he came to, and he came to frantically, and we all started to try and to catch him and to see who he was, just really out of curiosity. And we did catch him down there. We all kind of surrounded him, and we pulled his hood off. I don't know why, but he was a ginger kid, and he was very, very scared. He pulled his hood back on and then ran up the stairs, and we all were just in shock because we knew who this kid was in the dream. In real life, I have no idea who this kid was. We all knew where he lived as well. So we all started to run over to his house to tell his mom what had happened. The scene changed, and I was viewing what the kid was viewing, and he was writing a note. He was writing a goodbye note. Him and his little brother, I guess his little brother was one of the ones in the robes as well. They had both received a letter in the mail that day. They were expecting it because after they wrote the goodbye note, they both ran to the mailbox and opened this letter. And it was a check. They cashed out their savings from the bank. And the bank had mailed it to them for some reason. I guess it took a while. to dream. So they received $2,408.64. Don't know how I remember that. After they got his check, they sat down and started writing a list of what they would need to survive. I guess they were going to run away and live in the woods because they knew that they were exposed and they didn't want to get in any kind of trouble. And they thought that this little bit of money would just last them the rest of their lives. Before they left, one of the kids even said that they could find everything else that they needed in the woods. And they started running towards the woods. As we got to their house, we were all very close, but I seen them running towards the woods, and they just crossed the woods line, and I woke up. And it was either 3:44 a.m. or 3:45. It just turned 3:45 as I checked my phone. My notes. I should have moved this, but something I forgot to add that I wrote at the bottom of this note was that before I went to move the car, one of my friends said that we need to pray for them. So when they came down the stairs and they got in that circle and started praying, one of my friends said to all of us that we need to pray for them. And then I said back to him that that wouldn't work. So instead, what we needed to do was to pray that their prayers didn't work. We needed to pray against them in some kind of spiritual warfare. So me and two of my friends there, we held hands and we were about to start praying. And as I was about to speak, like the beginnings of this prayer, I was called up to move the car. It's coincidence, obviously. So this next dream, I don't have a date here, so I'm not sure when I had this dream. All these dreams were on my phone, and I would type them up as I would wake up in the morning. I guess I didn't put the date on this one. It started out, I was on a beach and it was war. To me, it seemed like it was World War I or World War II because of the machinery used. It was very old and beat up, almost like anything used wouldn't have anything, high-tech or computerized with it. We were all fighting against this large battleship in the sea. It was far out past the beach line, and I seen a large sniper rifle over to my right, and it was so large it looked like a cannon, and the bullets it took were huge. So I go over to it and I look in the scope, and this is a good scope because I zoomed in super close to the ship, and it was an old warship. It was attacking us from the west or the south. I know it wasn't the north or the east. I seen a figure at the top of it pacing back and forth. I shot multiple times, hitting him, and he did not die. It wounded him but did not kill him, and I know I shot him in vital areas. Then, in a last-ditch effort, he set off just a huge bomb on his own location that caused a tsunami. Now this wave hit us, but it didn't really do any damage. It was at least 30 foot tall, but it just felt like a gust of wind. It didn't have any mass to it. As the waves cleared, we all looked back out to the sea, and the ship was gone, and I wake up. This next dream, December 27th. I was outside with my sister talking to one of my aunts. My aunt's name is Phyllis, and I just did a quick search on her name, and in Greek legend it says that Phyllis was changed to an almond tree after her death and bore no leaves until her lover returned. That's a good parable and symbolism there. Again, it was just a Greek legend, but it's still pretty cool. First thing in Google it popped up. So my Aunt Phyllis, she was warning us about this big city. The city will be under nuclear water. That was something that she emphasized on multiple times, was nuclear water. It was never nuclear or water, it was always nuclear water, and the city would be under it. My sister then asked about the puppies. She was very persistent on the puppies. She was very, very worried about them. Sorry, the puppies. She was scared. So, again, she was very scared of these puppies, so I guess I wrote a line twice there in these notes. She was very scared that they would all drown. The scene changed, and I was viewing her carrying a bunch of puppies up a skyscraper emergency exit staircase. This staircase was filling up with water very quickly. She didn't want any of this water to touch her, but she was ankle deep in it, and she couldn't carry all of them, and she was getting very scared and sad. Her arms were full of puppies, and she was about to start crying, and then I woke up. There's a dream I just spoke about in the last video. So I got 2 more dreams here. This next one was December 6th. This one, I was in a field with 2 friends. We were riding a 4-wheeler, and to my right, it seemed like a meteor or a comet was coming towards the Earth. We were all there's. I was with 2 friends, and one friend was on the front riding forward, one friend was driving, and I was on the back facing the rear as we were driving the other direction. And I seen this, and I yelled at my 2 friends about this, and by the time they looked over, this thing had burnt up. It was almost gone. So I seen it when it was coming, in, I guess, all of its glory. I mean, it was big, it was bright, it was like seeing, I guess, a comet or something coming towards the Earth. It was I don't know, an amazing thing, I guess, to say. When it was about 20 feet from the ground, that's when they seen it, and it was pretty much all burnt up, like a tiny ember, and it floated down like a burnt up leaf or a dead leaf, just fluttering in the wind, gently as can be, and it landed on top of some very tall, unharvested wheat. I told my friends that we need to stop to put this out because I was extremely worried about it. But my friends didn't think it would be a big deal because when they seen it, it was just this little bitty ember. But when I seen it, it was this big ball of fire coming towards us. So we kept going, and I kept watching it while riding on the back of the 4-wheeler, turned away from the front. I could see this burning as we drove away from it. Excuse me. And it started to spread almost immediately. And I yelled again at my friends to stop so we could put it out. They finally turned around and they seen it as well, and they agreed. But they kept going so we could find a safer spot to turn around. As we got to the bottom of this pasture, it cleared out a little bit, and we all got off of the 4-wheeler and started to run on foot. I was still just extremely worried about this fire, and I wanted to take the 4-wheeler back up. It made the most sense to me. But instead, they insisted on running. I don't know why, but we did. We all had big knives, like machetes, on this trail. We were running from a bunch of, not running from, but I guess kind of running from a bunch of coyotes. We knew that this field was full of coyotes, and we had some dogs with us as well. So I guess that they wanted to protect these dogs as we ran back to this fire. We kind of got lost on the way back, which to me it was very confusing because we didn't go that far. But we got lost, and we were in this bottom of this pasture, and we ran into some coyotes and some tall wheat. And they all started running towards these coyotes to get rid of them, to kill them, or to protect the dogs. And as I'm running with them, I see out of my left just this massive orange-red glow, and it was this fire. And it had spread almost the entire field, and this was a big field. And I was just a helpless person, and I started running towards the fire to try and help. But me alone, I couldn't put out this fire. It was a big fire. And I woke up. This last dream, I think, is the most symbolic of, well, I got one more here, but that dream, I think, was the most symbolic with feeling like us as the watchmen and praying for people. We feel like we're trying to put out this fire and just no one's listening. They all just want to go off and do their own thing, and they don't want to listen to us. So this last dream, this one was very quick. I don't know when I had this dream. As I was looking over these notes, I remembered about this dream. This was, I don't know when I had this dream, but I was around some cats. like CAT cats. They're just normal house cats, and when they would meow, instead they would say Yahweh. It was my understanding that this was an ancient language for cats. They'd never meowed. Back in the day, they did not meow. They would only say Yahweh. So instead of like meow, meow, they would say Yahweh, Yahweh. And even in the stream, I tried to pronounce what they were saying. Like here, we can obviously say meow. We can mimic what they're saying. But in the dream, I could not mimic closely to the way they pronounced Yahweh. I mean, I still try every time I think about this dream to mimic it, but there is just no way I can mimic the way they pronounced Yahweh. And I feel like this is somewhat symbolic of us not giving him praise when we should be giving him praise with every word we speak. So that's all I got here. It's a pretty long video. Thank you guys for watching. Again, if you guys pick up on something I missed, please let me know. I know there's a lot of symbolism here, and thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for praying, and I encourage you guys to keep praying and just never give up hope. No matter if you hear people preaching on, people saying days, or, this is going to happen on this day, false prophets, just try not to listen to them. Listen with your heart to only God. Don't even listen to me or anyone else. Lean on your own relationship with God. Don't lean on your own understanding. Lean on your own relationship with Him, and really develop that relationship so you can learn how to really hear Him and speak to Him and have that communication with Him. So these streams are kind of all around with their meanings and stuff. Thank you for watching. I'm kind of ranting. Thank you guys. I love you. God bless you.